Okay, ladies, so today we're going to talk about living with rose-colored glasses. So my story began about 8 years ago. I was sitting on the floor, my small walk-in closet, with tears running down my face. I felt alone, totally empty, and I did not know what I was going to do next. The negative chatter in my mind was running rampant, and I just didn't know how to stop it. And it kept getting worse, telling me I will never find somebody who's going to love me again. I will never find somebody who would trust me again. Sam, you've already lied twice. Nobody's going to trust you again. I would never find somebody who would say, this is somebody I want to partner with for the rest of my life. At this point in time, this was the beginning of the end of my second marriage. For me, I didn't understand what was going on. I typically am a pretty calm, even keel type person. I don't get too crazy or emotional. I don't feel like I deal with a lot of drama. But for some reason, I was at this place again. My second marriage was ending, and I didn't know why. What I had dreamed of was having that perfect little life. The 2 kids, the dog, the white picket fence, the husband, everything all neat, wrapped up in a bow. This is what I wanted. I was from a divorced family. My family tree is a hot mess. But I still love my family tree. Put that in there. But still, it's a hot mess. I wanted my life to be different. I wanted my girls to have a different life. I wanted them to know what true love was, what a good, healthy marriage was. But that wasn't what's happening. There I was, at the end of my second marriage. And I did not know what to do or where to turn at this point in time. But then God stepped in. Throughout my life, I grew up in church, and I knew God. And anytime I was having trouble, I always looked to God. But then when things were going good, He wasn't really there. I didn't ask Him to be a part of my marriages for the first 2 go-rounds. And we didn't go to church. He was not a part of my life. But at this point in time, I was on rock bottom. And again, I look up. I look to God to help me. But this time it was different because I listened. And this time, He said, Sam, you gotta make some changes. Walk with me and I will help you through. And that's what I did. And it was amazing the difference how things worked out. I knew I could start over again. I had done it before. I've been a single mom for the majority of my girls' life. I knew I could start over again. But this time, I didn't want it to be the same cycle. I wanted to break that cycle so that I did not have to live through it again. That's when I found my rose-colored glasses. My family, this is my family. I got a couple sisters in there and nieces and nephews, my mom. Through my healing journey, I found my rose-colored glasses. And my family would give me such a hard time because I always had rose-colored glasses on, and Sam's just not looking at reality, and Sam's just not whatever. But during this vacation, we got to the beach, and my sister pulled out a bag that had rose-colored glasses for everybody to wear. So for that week, everyone was wearing the rose-colored glasses, which made me really happy, even though she was meant it to be a smartass. But that's my sister. I love her anyway. Talking about rose-colored glasses, the Cambridge Dictionary definition, a happy or positive attitude that fails to notice negative things, leading to a view of life that is not realistic. Rose-colored glasses sound like a positive thing to me, but it doesn't sound that way in the definition. But my definition is a little bit different. Because my rose-colored glasses are not made from the lens of man, they're made from the lens of God. What I want to see is the beauty that's in this world. I want to see the beauty that is in people. I want to see the beauty that is in nature and everything around us. And if we look, it is everywhere. I want to focus on that beauty, and that's where my glasses come from. It doesn't mean that everything is rainbows and unicorns at this point in time, but I know that the struggles that I go through, God's going to help me through it, and I know He's going to teach me through it, which is a beautiful thing, because as we learn, we grow and our life shifts completely. So each of us have a pain story. We have a pain story that maybe was from childhood. We have a pain story that we've lived through relationships. We have a pain story with parents or with our children, with our bosses, our employees, our employment, whatever we've done. Each of us have pain stories, and none of them are the same. We are all totally different, but our pain is real no matter what that is. The big thing, and this is a quote that I heard a while ago, that we are not responsible for the hurt, the pain, and the bad that has happened in our lives, but it is our responsibility to heal that pain, to find the strength and to learn from it and to move forward from it, to be able to separate ourselves from that pain controlling our lives. And this is where we need to get to in life. And with the rose-colored glasses, if you see through God's lens, He's going to help you grow through any pain you've gone through. He doesn't promise us a life that is pain-free, but He wants to teach us through that pain. He wants to grow us through that pain. And I've told my girls, we go through what we go through to be who we need to be. I would not be here today had I not gone through 2 divorces. Had I not gone through this journey with God and Him shifting my life and telling me to leave corporate and do coaching. I would not be in this place had I not walked the walk that I have walked. Just like Job in the Bible, Job was living large and loving life. And then Satan came in and said, nope, we want to test him. And God allowed it. He allowed it because He knew that Job would look to Him and Job could handle it with Him. And He knew He would walk through it and He would be there with Job. So He wasn't concerned about it. Sometimes the pain that we go through, it doesn't make sense. We don't understand. And it's really difficult to go through. But God, He walks through us. And He also gives us the people around us to help us to make that journey, which is the most beautiful thing of all. He provides us the angels here on earth to help us get through what we need to get through. Psalm 28:7, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I believe we've heard that one already today. But that is God's promise, that no matter what it is that we go through, He's going to help us through if we seek Him. So I have 3 steps that will help us to be able to see our world, our life, our journey with rose-colored glasses, and to be able to move forward with this. Does everybody have a packet? Do you have a packet?
Oh, no, I came in late, I'm sorry.
No.
It's rose-colored glasses.
And I just want to let you know, I love this. So last night I was praying. We could have 15 to 20 in the class, or however many, we're not really sure. So I was praying, I'm like, okay, God, tell me, how many do I need to print? Help me figure out what this is. There are 11 pages in the packet. I wanted to save paper, and I printed 11, and that was my 11th one I just handed out.
That was God.
There are not. Okay, so our first step is to understand our hurt, and that will equal hope in our life. Once you have hope, it is so much easier to be able to see the good even when you're going through the bad. So, God blessed me in despite of my mess. I found a man who loves me, who trusts me, and who is in ministry with me. Somebody who is walking beside me, and we are truly growing together through this life. I didn't think it would happen, but it did. And he is unlike the men that I have dated in my past. He is somebody who is totally different. And it was definitely a God connection in the way that everything happened, which is a fun story. But that's for another day. So my husband and I spoke that we talked, we're in ministry together. We work for a group called Prison Fellowship. So we go into Edinburgh Correctional Facility every Monday evening. That's a year-long program for the men who join. It's actually Monday and Thursday. Ben and I do Monday, and we have our other group does Thursday. But it's a year-long program. So it's an incredible time to get to know these men who sign up to go through this class. And the stories that we have heard of the men who have been shot, who have been in horrific accidents, who have been attacked, who should have been on their deathbed and not survived, they are still here today. And those men during those classes, when they share their story, they know that it can only be God. That He was the one that has saved them. He's the one that has something for their life, and He has kept them here for that. And hearing those stories is just so powerful. And if we all think in that perspective, that we're here for a reason, we're here because God wants to use us to help other people, then that shifts our perspective on many different things that we go through. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. If we seek God in all of our different circumstances, He will definitely lead us. And if we are at a place that we are not sure how to move forward, He will either speak to us or speak through somebody else to us. And He will show us the path that He wants us to go. And sometimes it's just to be still. So, finding our patience in that. So, in finding hope, one of the tools that I like to use the most is journaling. Okay? So today we are going to do a little journal exercise. Now, journaling is wonderful to do. If you are somebody who is going through a time of struggle, to journal and write things down. When I was going through my second divorce, I would sit and just write. And then I'd shred the paper because I did not want anybody to read what I wrote on those pages, but it got it out of my head, which made such a huge difference. And I encourage you to do that during any time of your journey. Journaling can be a positive thing, talking about the good that's happened in your life. It can be one of those things where if you're struggling, it can be a life support in that way too. So today we are going to do a journal exercise. And on page 3. On page 3, this talks about the white noise meeting. So the white noise meeting is something that I started at the corporate company that I used to work at. And this company, what we would do, everybody was so stressed, always. So what I wanted to create was a space that people can unplug and just be quiet for a few minutes. So what a white noise meeting is, and on the paper it explains it, but then we're also going to walk through it. A white noise meeting is you come into a space, you do not have your electronics, all you have is a pen and a piece of paper. Nothing else. Everything else you leave in the other room. You set it aside. And you are going to take 10 to 15 minutes. Today we're only going to take 5, but take some time just to sit. Be quiet, be still, write whatever pops in your head. If it's your grocery list, that's fine. If it is because you had an argument with somebody and you want to write your feelings about that argument, then do that. If it's feelings that you are trying to process, write about that. This is your time. It's quiet time for you to just write down whatever's happening in your head. Okay? So what we're going to do, I have some music here I'm going to play. I hope. Oh, it's starting, I think. So while this is going, we're going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And for 5 minutes, first, does anybody have their phone sitting next to them? I want you to put your phone either in your bag, put your phone away from you, put it on a chair that's far away. Take your electronics that you have and set them away to where you do not hear it buzz, you do not see it light up. It does not catch your attention in any way, shape, or form. But that's okay. We'll just sit in silence.
What do you want?
I was just going to do like a quiet, I don't know.
A meditation or something?
Meditation, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can get some on YouTube. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to take 5 minutes. I've got a timer set, so you don't need to worry about time. Okay? Don't worry about time. But let's take 5 minutes and write whatever you want on that paper. Okay? Okay. 5 minutes. How did that feel?
Oh, good.
How many of you take that kind of time to just sit, no distractions? We get caught up with all of the distractions in this world. Our phones buzz and beep at us all day long. People can when I went to college, we didn't have one of these. We had to actually use a telephone that was now, and it's one of those things, if I do not have this distraction with me, I turn around and go home and get it. If I leave it somewhere, it has to be connected with me. If I walk from one room to the other, I take it with me. So if you are in that place to where you feel you have to be plugged in all the time, taking this time to just clear your head, writing things down actually uses a part of your brain, and for me, it helps me to organize my thoughts. If I can actually hand write something out, it helps me to organize my thoughts, and it brings me clarity. May not be that way for everyone, but writing things down, taking that moment, even if it is, I'm really not one for journaling, but sit in quiet time and soft music or whatever it is that brings you peace, keeping your electronics away, and sit in quiet time. Whatever works best for you, then I encourage you to do that. That helps you to bring some peace and clarity into your life, which makes those rose-colored glasses sparkle just a little bit more. Okay, step number 2. This is a tough one because forgiveness equals healing. I don't know if any of y'all believe this or not, but forgiveness is an extremely tough subject. Sometimes there are people that we just don't want to forgive. Or there's things that happen to us that we cannot understand, and it's hard for us to even think about forgiving. It is so important on our journey to be able to forgive. But it's also important for us to be protected during this process. At I think it was Purple Life. At Purple Life, I forget who it was, that got up and spoke about the armor of God. If we look at the armor of God as something that we should put on each day to protect us, this is something that will help you through your day and through life. So as you're fixing your hair in the morning, put on the helmet of salvation. Ask God, please put on my helmet of salvation. As you're getting dressed and putting on your shirt, Lord, protect me with your breastplate of righteousness. Help me to feel this today. As you're putting on your belt or your pants, that belt of truth. Father, fit me with that belt of truth today. And as you're putting on your shoes, Lord, fit me with the gospel of peace, that readiness of peace that you will give to me. And as you're getting ready to take your bag to head out the door or putting on your coat, pick up that shield of faith that God protects us, that we can sit behind as he extinguishes the flaming arrows of the evil one. And that's the Spirit hiding those scriptures in our heart so that we have God's word with us when we need it. Anytime I walk through a session that is something that can bring up a lot of tough emotions, asking for God's protection through that, asking for His guidance through it, will help the process so much. And I hope that if we have anything that has happened in our life, which I know we all have, if there are things that you haven't been able to let go of, that you haven't been able to process through, that you haven't been able to heal from, I pray that you find whatever path that is to be able to get the healing that you need, to set that baggage down so that you can move forward and open space for something new and beautiful. So He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. If we give it to God and let it go, then He will gladly take it from us. It doesn't mean that it's erased out of our memory. It is still a chapter in our life. But if we give it to Him, He's going to let us open up some space for some new and beautiful to come into our life. So today, we are going to talk about forgiveness. So on page number 5, keep in mind, these are your worksheets, and this is your stuff to go through. So there are 4 sections of forgiveness in here. And we're going to set some time for us to just start going through this. Now, you may not get through all of it, but if you get started on it, I encourage you to please finish it at some point in time when you get home. Now, forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean it has to be some big traumatic thing that's happened in your life. Forgiveness can be an argument with somebody. Forgiveness can be a small little tiff with somebody. Forgiveness can be the way that somebody talked to you or disrespected you. Whether they meant it or not, this is how you took it, and we need to forgive each and every one of those things that have come through our life.
It can even be a mistake you've made that you're just having a hard time forgiving yourself for.
Forgiving yourself is a very big one, and yes, forgiving yourself or others, it doesn't matter. You can work on whatever forgiveness that you want to work on. There are 4 different steps. The first step is just going to be talking about the emotions of it and what that looks like. Sometimes it may even be hard to think about forgiving. But I'm telling you, if you ask God to help you, Lord, I want to be open to forgive. God can help you through that. He will help guide you through that. So work through that section on number 2. And then committing the doing part. Committing to the forgiveness decision. And there's a few questions in regards to that. And then releasing past hurts. So there are the 4 sections. And if you start processing through that way, it will help you to be able to release. I encourage you to write down whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't matter if it makes sense to you now or not. Just write it down. Okay? So I'm going to set the timer for another 5 minutes. And let's go through this and see where we get to, okay? Okay. Forgiveness is one of those things that comes in layers. For example, through my 2 divorces. My first husband was an alcoholic, and he was not one who was physically abusive, but emotional abuse was really bad. And I've gone through a lot of forgiveness when it came to that relationship. And my second relationship, still the same type of guy. It was a hot mess as well. And there have been times that I thought, okay, I've forgiven these guys. I'm good. I've forgiven myself for what I did in the relationship. I forgave myself for staying in the relationship, for allowing them to treat me the way that they did, for me not standing up for myself. There's a lot of different things and a lot of different layers. But even though I thought I forgave them, there are still some times that something will come up and I get triggered by it. And so as things come up in your life and you are triggered by them, you get upset, you want to fight back, you want to come unglued, you feel yourself, just ask yourself, why am I getting triggered? One of the beautiful things about my marriage now is my husband knows my path has gone more of spiritual and holistic. My daughters call it the hippy-dippy shit. That's where my world has gotten to. And my husband is very analytical. He's an engineer. He's just very analytical. So he doesn't necessarily blend with the hippy-dippy shit, but he is open to it. And so even when we have discussions now, if I can feel myself starting to get upset at something that he says, I could tell him, I need 5 minutes. Just take a pause. I need 5 minutes. And that allows me time to go. I have a chair sitting in the corner of my room. That's my safe space. And I go and sit down and say, okay, Sam, why are you upset about this? This was a silly comment. Or this was something that's not important. Or is it important? And if it is, why is it important? But to understand that emotion so that you can speak clearly about it. So that I can go to him and say, okay, this is why I'm upset. This is the way I felt. And I can identify this is something I need to work through, or honey, you need to work on something here and help me through this. But to be able to recognize those different things and understand what that is it because of old patterns coming back up? Is it because of unforgiveness that hasn't been dealt with? Whatever that layer is, try to be honest with yourself to understand what that is. And if it's something that you can't process or heal or even want to face, then find somebody to help you face it. I know I have worked with many women with all kinds of different scenarios. Now there are some things that I can't help them with that they may need to go to somebody else. But a lot of times it's just a matter of being able to open up and talk about it. And if you're talking to somebody who doesn't have emotional connection to it, because talking to family doesn't work. But if you talk to somebody who doesn't have emotional connection to it, then they can help you to work through what it is that's rolling around in your head. And sometimes it is just being able to voice it in a place where you feel safe and don't feel judged, and you can just talk about it. So, I encourage you guys to continue with this forgiveness. And if you would actually like a copy of it, you can reach out to me. I can email it to you to where if it's something you want to work through, since we've written on these papers. But I encourage you to work through the forgiveness because it's amazing the peace that God gives us when we can start letting that stuff go that just clutters our hearts. Okay, and anytime you work on anything that happens to be tough and difficult to work with, or if you've done a journal session that has been just a lot of negative, always end with positive. Always end with positive. Daily gratitude equals joy. God wants us to have joy. Always. He wants us to have joy. But daily gratitude is also a practice. We have to get into the mindset that we want to do this every day. When we wake up in the morning and before our feet even hit the floor, we know it's one of those days. Just start being thankful. Being thankful for your good night's sleep. Being thankful for the cup of coffee you're going to drink. Being thankful for the sun or the rain or the snow or whatever's happening in Indiana. Be thankful that you have a house that you're living in. Be thankful you have family around you. Be thankful that you have a job to go to, or be thankful that you don't have a job to go to. Whichever space you are, just find those things. And the more you start thanking God, the more He quiets your heart and gives you that peace to be able to move forward. Now, there are some people that are like, I don't know what to do for daily gratitude. I can't think of new things. It's hard for me to work on that. So in your packet, there is the GLAD technique. So the GLAD is G is for gratitude, L is for learning, A for accomplishment, and D for delight. If you are somebody who struggles with finding stuff to be thankful for or to show gratitude for, look in these different categories. Today I am grateful for, or today I learned. And it can be anything. Today I accomplished. I always say one of the things that I got so excited about was when I learned how to do pivot tables in Excel. That made me so happy. Nobody else cared. But for me, I was excited about it. That was an accomplishment, and that is something that I wanted to celebrate. So always write down those accomplishments for your days and find those little things to celebrate. And delight. So today I was delighted by, and maybe it was a stranger smiling at you, or somebody opening a door, or just somebody saying a kind word. Finding that gratitude, and doing that daily, and even multiple times during the day, especially if you're struggling during the day, or you're at work and things are a little crazy. Just taking a moment to do something like this, it's amazing how it can shift your perspective, how it can shift your energy and your mindset towards the day that you're having. So, you each have a pair of rose-colored glasses, and I hope that you use those to remind you of how beautiful life truly is. It's in everything that is around us. It's in the people around us, in nature, just everything. And if you look, you will see it. So understanding your hurt will generate hope in your life. Forgiving what you need to forgive will help you to gain the healing that you need to have peace in your life. And practicing your daily gratitude will cultivate joy. And that's what really helps us to thrive in our space. So, our last verse, this is one that my husband loves. The first one he memorized was 1 Thessalonians 5:16. Rejoice always. Done. That's the verse. Rejoice always. So that is a wonderful verse to always remember. But rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstance. For this is the will of God for you in Jesus. One of the things that always stands out in all circumstance, I don't know if anybody knows or has read the books of Corrie ten Boom, but she has a book, and she talked about, she was a survivor of concentration camps. Her sister went to a concentration camp, and her sister did not survive the concentration camp, and the majority of her family was gone. But Corrie, in her story, said there were some barracks that they went into that they put them in this concentration camp. And the room that they were in, it was just like almost shelves with maybe a little bit of hay for them to sleep on. And there were like 2 to 3 people. The conditions sound absolutely horrible. And she said there were fleas. She said the fleas were unreal. And her sister kept telling her, be thankful for the fleas. Or just be thankful. God has given us this space. Be thankful for the fleas. We're still alive. We're still healed here today. And after Corrie had gotten through that, and she thought back about that, she was thankful for the fleas. But because of the fleas, the guards would not come into that space. Because of the fleas, they were able to have Bible studies. And they were able to talk and connect and be in community with each other and try to find hope for one another. So even sometimes when we have those times where it does not make sense for us to be grateful, just find some way to be thankful for the situation that you're in, and knowing that God's going to help you through it, no matter what it is. And you're there for a reason. We don't know what the reason is, and we may never know until we are away from this world. But trusting that He's got us, and that He's always going to protect us. So, anybody have any questions, thoughts, or anything they would like to share?
I want to comment on just being grateful for the fleas. Going through all my medical, I say praise Him withstand the storms. If I wouldn't go through all the medical stuff I've gone through, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be sharing my story, and I wouldn't be touching the lives I'm touching. So therefore, I'm grateful for all the struggles I've gone through. I'm grateful for all the battles.
Yeah, that could bring some good from it.
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for joining me. And I do have extra rose-colored glasses, so if we want to get everybody together with, let's do a picture of all of us here, and then we'll see if we can do a picture of everybody together with glasses. Okay, we're gonna have to do a couple different rows here.
I'm good down on my knees.
Oh, okay, we're gonna do that. All right.
If I can do it with knee replacements.